Well, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says trade talks between his country and the U.S. have resumed after his government scrapped plans to introduce a tax targeting U.S. tech firms that was supposed to come into effect today. Now, President Trump had called trade negotiations off on Friday over the tax, which he called a, quote, blatant attack. Canada's finance ministry says both countries are aiming to secure a deal by July 21st. Now, this comes as the president's 90-day pause on tariffs for most countries is set to expire next week. Now, for more on this, I want to bring in Javier David. He's a CBS News contributor and the business editor for the Dallas Morning News. Javier, good morning. So let's talk about that 90-day pause on tariffs. It's set to expire next week, and the White House said they'd have 90 deals in 90 days. Are they anywhere close to achieving that?
Well, I don't think so, but the president said over the weekend that he saw no reason to suggest that he need to extend the deadline. So it suggests at a minimum that multilateral negotiations are moving in the right direction, even if higher baseline tariffs may prevail. So you're looking at the market, major indexes are at or near record highs. It really does suggest that investors are increasingly pricing in some sort of resolution, even if it's not going to be a very specific 90 different deals. But the accord with China, which was always going to be the toughest needle to thread, and we have clarity on that front. So now it removes at least one major plank of uncertainty, but things are very much still in flux, and the White House thrives on its ability to sort of inject unpredictability in a lot of these discussions. The president likes to keep everyone guessing, and there are still sticking points with Japan and China, as you mentioned. But for now, at least some of these storm clouds are starting to give way to clearer skies.
That said, there's still a lot of uncertainty, especially about prices. So if deals aren't reached by the deadline, what impact can consumers expect?
Yeah, look, confidence has been very low and inflation expectations have been skewed to the upside. None of these things are good. At a minimum, with China, we've got more clarity, even if, in a lot of these other instances, higher prices in the immediate term are still largely baked in. But again, the deal with China, I think in particular, is really huge. For consumers and businesses that source a lot of those items from abroad, it really does suggest that you're not looking at those insane high double digits or triple digit price hikes, even if your prices are going to be on some level higher.
Now, Javier, I also wanted to ask about TikTok. The president claims there's been movement on finding a buyer. So what do we know about that?
Yeah, look, this is a fascinating case. This platform, by law and affirmation of the Supreme Court, really should have been shut down or divested months ago, but it's still up and running. And by decree, the White House keeps moving the drop dead date. The president, keeps his cards close to the vest, but he says there's a buyer, and he says it's contingent on Beijing agreeing to the terms. He says President Xi will probably, quote unquote, do it. And that word is doing a lot of work because China's cooperation has always been central to resolving this. It's not clear if they'll entirely play ball. In a lot of ways, they've won this PR battle because this platform is hugely popular. It has a creator economy that has, livelihoods, billions. It's worth billions to people. So there's a couple questions that need answering. And the big thing is how much is it going to sell for? President Trump has stated publicly it's going to be worth $1 trillion. This is an addictive algorithm, so it's bound to have widespread interest from U.S. companies. And also, is there going to be one buyer or an entire consortium? Will the American government have some sort of an ownership stake? There's still a lot of questions here that need answers.
All right, Javier David, we always appreciate your perspective. Thanks.